केटहरूले काम गर्न थाल्छ। सुदर्शन चाहिँ यस्तो कुरामा खुब एक्टिभ हुन्छ है, अरू कुरामा हुँदैन, यस्तो कुरामा चाहिँ त्यसलाई त्यो हुन्छ। म्युट गरेर राख्छ त्यसले।
A few seconds and Maptex are stuck in the open. They're stuck between ST and IHC now.
Yeah, stuck between a rock and a hard place, and nowhere to run or hide. Those players you can always rely on. Maptex already reduced down to 2 players. Of course, Benten has to go and get his players back alive, but no, gets spotted and shot down by IC as the final player. W survives as Nirzet. He's gonna administer that first hit as IC is out for blood, and he has to be careful because IHC still haven't made their move. Maptex in the meanwhile trying to get as many bodies alive as possible. I think one of their players will get the rest back up, but seems like Maptex won't be spared. But still, W putting up a fight. Action has been done and dusted. IC just goes charging in. Oh, W, he fought till the end. Did manage to hurt Starward, and yes, indeed, IHE, this is the golden chance for them to go in, commit for the push, and I believe they are doing exactly that.
I mean, yeah, they're doing a brilliant job, and for MV as well, it is a brilliant opportunity for them to actually go for a hat-trick chicken dinner, since now Stalwart, they are left bleeding. The last move from the last surviving player of T2K, it was, Maptex was impressive. We made sure that he was going to make sure Stalwart was left bleeding even after that fight, and down to the last player we go. I see final man left between his team and elimination on the 6th position as well. After the way this day is not really going well for them, he's lobbed the nades on the stairs. That is going to stop the push from the players of 4MV as he runs upstairs to try and protect himself. The spray from Falak does connect Buddy, last player left standing. But Buddy, how long are you going to be standing behind that crater, and how long are you going to survive? Not long enough. Blade is going to be there with the nade, and that is going to be it. Regicide eliminated from the game. We're down to the top 5 teams. 14 players still alive.
Debo and Godless, the 2 surviving souls of IHC, against all the odds, they have somehow made it. Look at For Miracle Vibes, look at Refuse. I do not know why has he come to this place. I think For Miracle Vibes, the entire idea is about controlling as many territory as possible. If they have control over those 2 apartments, I think should be better, but sort of opens him up to pushes from the other players, because now Apex and Doc, these 2 players have to deal with the entire force, entire contingency of Aegon I8. Now the question arises, are they prepared for that? And this is not good news for Miracle Vibes, as Refuse, he's been dealt with by Godless. Finally Godless waking up when it was required, as Apex, I think he has to survive the onslaught of Aegon I8.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to try his level best to see if he can survive this. And if he can regroup with Doc, I think that is going to be much better for them. But Stalwart, Nirzet and IC, they managed to stay alive for so long. Apex, he does find the opening. Falak is going to be finished off, and Doc is there as well. 2 DBSs in their hands. The crossfire is set as well. The nade does damage Apex, but Doc is left extremely healthy. No damage inflicted on him. Means he's going to be there covering up the stairs for his teammate. Aegon I8 still extremely cautious. IHC on the other side eliminated, and we're down to the top 4 teams of this game. Fixes, do you think For Miracle Vibes, they can pull off the miracle and secure the hat trick?
You know, at this point, anything and everything is possible, because High Voltage DC, look at that. Finally, they've just come out of their hiding. Seems like they're opening up as IC is being dealt with. Comes down to Nirzet. The smoky path has already been deployed, but Uzum outright in the open, did not see Probin coming in. from miles afar as Doc gets out but quickly realizes the danger that lies ahead of him, as just like that, for Miracle Vibes this time eliminated at the 4th position, leaving us with the final 3. It is going to be High Voltage DC going after the final surviving member of IQ, and Nirzed, he's up against the wall in that 1v3 situation, and there you go. High Voltage DC, courtesy of them holding this apartments area for quite a long time, exercising a lot of patience, finally paid off in dividends with that winner chicken dinner coming into their name, instantly bolstering up to that 2nd position with 15 elimination points. Johnny, what a game it was.
They just had one of the best possible starts you could ask for within the first 3 games of finals beginning. I mean, it was the dream game that they wanted, but they need to make sure that this match is going to be followed up by another brilliant one. Is that going to happen? Well, we'll find that out after this very short break.
Welcome to Dynaground. Hello, my name is Owen and I'm your professional Dyna rider. Today I'll be teaching you how to ride a dinosaur and win that chicken dinner. Now, let's begin! Relax, don't be scared. That's the sound of the mighty T-Rex. Now, here's the first dinosaur encounter. I want you to meet my girl Vicky, my sweet little raptor. Look how cute she is.
Isn't she lovely?
Vicky or raptors, they're the most vicious and fastest beasts in the world. To ride a dinosaur, first you must build trust. They are carnivores. They eat meat. You have to feed them off. They will think that you are their friend, not food. Once they trust you, they will be a great companion. However, taming a dinosaur can be seen. Experience dinosaur taming and riding an all-new version of PUBG Mobile Dynaground. Explore Dino Settlement and Wild Reserve and embark on a prehistoric adventure in the Battle Royale game. Come and play now.
Welcome back after the break, ladies and gentlemen, to the PUBG Mobile Pro League South Asia Championship 2023. This is Super Johnny, joined by my man Fixes right next to me, and we just witnessed an amazing performance from the players of High Voltage on Miramar. And Fixes, as you broke it down right after the match, this is the fact that they were in the right position, and also the fact that their decision to just be patient while everyone else was busy fighting amongst themselves worked out quite nicely for them in the previous game.
It certainly did. I mean, I was quite surprised watching the players already taking over those rooftops. I think that was one of those compounds that the players of Stalwart were holding, and suddenly you see towards the end, and we did not see a lot of commotion from their side, but they were constantly just pressuring, hammering down teams. I think a lot of those teams coming in from the likes of 7th Element, even most of the IHC players. I think, High Voltage DC, they were dealing with them. And towards the end, I think they control the situation really well. And it takes a lot of cojones in doing that. But again, if you kind of break down this particular game, it was quite surprising to see one of those circles kind of finally ending around apartments. Just when we kind of thought that the circle is going to go out. But also we witnessed some individual brilliance from a lot of players in this matchup as well.
I mean, for sure. Especially one of those lads has to be Assassin. We saw an incredible fight from him right at the start, well, in the middle of the game, and I think from there they the squad of High Voltage looked quite solid. He did recover quite nicely as well, made sure his teammates were going to be safe during that entire fiasco. And I think that moment also created a little bit of a fear in the other teams that were holding the compounds around them, because Stalwart was there. Aegon I8 were there to witness that fiasco as well. 4 Miracle Vibes were there as well in the compounds nearby. And I think High Voltage just winning that 1v4 allowed them a little bit of breathing room. They knew no one was going to try and approach them instantly, because everyone was also focused on the teams that were approaching those school apartments from the rear, from the open fields towards the west as well. And I think they just were very precise with the timing of every single engagement. But let's see. All right, quite obvious the man can pull off a 1v4 and can, of course, take the MVP in the same game. 8 eliminations, 856 damage dished out.
Yeah, I mean, starting off, he goes off with those 4 elims on the players of NB Sports. I think certainly Assassin questions were definitely getting raised if he's past his prime. I think that's a very solid answer to all the critiques, and watching Assassin make it back to these MVP spots, I think kind of fills our heart with joy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just as you mentioned, I mean, just seeing him be the best and still be one of the greatest players from his region does bring happiness to me. I mean, we've been seeing him for years now. IC is still there as well. He's also doing a brilliant job, as we do see him in player focus with 5 eliminations, 801 damage dished out. Rig having a wonderful game. T2K also having a pretty nice game and a start and a run in the tournament. 823 damage dished out. We have Prabeen from High Voltage, so Assassin and Prabeen working in tandem, making sure their team walked away with a lot of points. IHC Godless. It's been a while, but hey, along with us, the man has returned to the list of top players.
Oh yeah, I mean, how could you just keep him away? And especially, it kind of surprises me that IHC made it this far, because when I was kind of expecting them to be picked off pretty early on, they kind of were very careful with every single move that they took. Towards the end, they kind of capitalized on the other teams fighting it out amongst each other. And one of the Achilles heels for IHC was the fact that they were out of vehicles. And if they had that, maybe this could have also been their game. But certainly, feels good to see all these old players coming back and redeeming themselves. And this sort of goes on to show that the SC Championship is just not about the new talents, right? It's also about the old talents proving their potential.
Well, I mean, talking about potential, I want to see where will the teams end up potentially after this game, because we know High Voltage DC is on the second, and I think even after not such a great performance, 4 Miracle Vibes still do in fact walk away with those 7 points from this match, so I think they're still going to be on the first position. But I wonder what the fall off for the other teams is going to look like after this game. Stalwart Esports have recovered something, walked away with 15 points in match number 3. IHC walking away with 9 eliminations, so they are getting better and better match by match, and I think that is exactly kind of what Sivansh meant in the early stages. But look at this. The overall rankings for MV number 1, High Voltage number 2, Maptex falling 9 points behind instantly. Wow.
Okay. But still, one good thing about Maptex is they're kind of vying on consistency. I kind of been liking how they've been playing today. They've been very careful. They've been trying to get as much area as possible. But yes, when the zone's kind of against you, what can you possibly do? But we want to see more of High Voltage DC. I think the best part about them so far has been how much eliminations they've been getting. Look at that, 29. It feels like, they're one of those Mongolian forces that have come out to annihilate everybody in the lobby. But as we go further down, a few surprises, the big names, DRS Gaming at the 12th position. Now, the placement points are where they thrive at, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have nightmares of how Rig just destroyed them solo.
I mean, for sure. And anytime they see his name they're approaching a team, they see one of the players going down, and if that one player securing a knock was Rig, I think they're going to be instilled with all that fear again. But I think that is the point. Next, in jumping into the next game, you have to make sure that you reset yourself mentally if you haven't had a great game, and try and focus on getting a few points at least on the next game. I think that is what IHC are doing. The first match, they were there with 0 points total accumulated. They got eliminated super early, no elimination, so they walked away with 0 points. Next match, they're like, all right, let's get a few points. They walk into early fights, secure 4 eliminations, and then themselves get eliminated super early as well. But they walked away with 4 points. This game, they try to get a few more placement points in the mix. And the improvements is there. And I think slow and steady improvement can be beneficial to a lot of these teams. But you know who doesn't have to be slow? You guys. Go right ahead. We have the in-game event running for the PMWI in-game All-Star Invitational. And for that, you guys can vote for your favorite teams. The voting lines are going to be open. You guys can earn a lot of juicy rewards for yourselves as well, so don't forget about that. Well, I guess we're going to wait for the WI to happen to see who you guys voted for.
Surely. And you can see, we've got a few options. We have one from South Asia and one from Pakistan. So it's pretty interesting considering how, PUBG Mobile is getting pushed in Pakistan. We're having those separate PMPLs from quite some time. Now an individual slot also coming out goes on to show that South Asia and Pakistan having 2 different slots means 2 representations from South Asia. I think that sort of fills our heart with joy. But
yeah.
Yes, now Johnny, it's time for Sandhawk.
Ooh, I mean, the map that brings with it the most chaos inside of the game. Map control becomes a priority, but just the fact that the map is extremely small, you have to contest it one way or the other. You can't take a passive seat in this particular map, unlike you have the option of doing so on Miramar, wherein you can just, if you're lucky enough and you're anywhere inside the zone, you can just hold on to your position for a while. On Sanhok, either someone's going to be pushing you or you're going to be pushing someone. There is a very little downtime in this particular map, and that is one of the reasons why we used to enjoy it the most. Also, snakes. Enjoyed the snakes as well.
Yeah, I mean, the players don't have the best time around that, but Sandhawk lately has been witnessing some really ridiculous circles, especially when you have those western zones. It gets so difficult, it gets so tight, for the other teams to kind of enter in, breach in. And, if we are kind of having a default circle somewhere around maybe Painan or situated around Paradise Resort, we get back to the old meta, then things might be different. Now with the inclusivity of a lot of TBS, and not just TBS, Shawnee, we're getting a lot of S12Ks in action also. I think, I kind of miss the SMG meta days where you kind of saw a lot of vectors running in Sanhok. I think this is one of the C teams, BT. They used to do a lot of it. And I haven't seen a lot of the other SA teams kind of following up on that.
I want to say one thing, though. I disagree with the circle thing that you mentioned. You want to see us the older meta circle. Dude, we used to be there regularly during the older meta, and we used to beg for Western circles, like, please get us Camp Alpha, please get us somewhere close to Ruins or anywhere towards the southwestern part of the map. Now, at least, we are getting a lot of interesting circles on Sanhok. Why are you complaining?
Now, because it's the daily norm, right? It's kind of become mundane that we get to see Western circles every other day. Now, imagine you just have one Sanhok and you get Western circle even today, maybe tomorrow you're going to get one. And at a point, it becomes boring. That's where you kind of start, hoping for the other circles.
True.
Especially after lately, we've seen, a lot of changes being made. Especially the zone shifts that has happened. I think the healing meta is completely thrown out of the window. Now all these teams have to cook up a lot of different strategies to kind of enter in. Now we kind of opening all these teams up to fighting. Gone are those days where you had like 7 to 8 teams kind of just waiting outside the circle, just patching each other up. So those days are long gone. Now looking forward to Sanhok, it is going to be absolute carnage, bloodbath, whatever you may call it.
Yeah. I mean, oh boy, have we gone a long way from Sanhok being the bloodiest map of the game, wherein you would see the most amount of fights to being the map where no one would fight at all, just bandages. It was the map that became the healing map, and now back to the map where most number of fights take place. So we've gone a complete circle, but let's see if that is what is going to happen with the teams, as well as we will be jumping into the game in a few short moments. And I think do you think 4 Miracle Vibes will be able to recover the lost momentum? I mean, they were doing quite well. They did quite decent in the last game as well. And they've proven themselves on Erangel and Miramar, at least for today. Do you think they're going to take the first Sanhok as well?
Oh, certainly, yes. I think there's no second thoughts about it. For Miracle Vibes, what really matters for them right now is not to lose the grip, right? Still a top 3 finish is pretty much pretty decent for me, and I think from here onwards all the way they need to go is upwards. As ladies and gentlemen, we charter into the rainforest of Sandhawk, as you know, Johnny, he's gonna be taking a little bit of a break over here, quite tired from these long matches of cars, as I'm gonna be joined by our sweet Shadow. And Shadow, you've been watching the matches from the sidelines. How have things been going so far?
Oh, for 4MV, first of all, thank you so much, Fixers, for the lovely introduction. And about the things going so far for the players of 4MV, they are having a fantastic run. And seems like 4MV, they have recovered from the league plays, because now they have got 2 back-to-back chicken dinners. Even the players of High Voltage DC, they are faring so well. They are so consistent. And in this game, if we again see a Pmpl for circle, maybe this can be a chicken dinner for the players of High Voltage DC. If not chicken dinner, at least a very good gameplay that is going to help them in maybe propelling up in the ladder, or maybe toppling over the plus of 4ME in the overall standings. But for now, 7th Element are also in the close vicinity, and High Voltage, they're very well aware of it. High Voltage DC, they have been on the receiving end of those drop collisions since the start of PMPL South Asia. On the other hand, talking about Painan, we have the players of 4MB, but the question is where the 4 circle is going to be, and looks like the players of DRS not having the best of the time, but it was Quantum Rage, I think. They get the first blood, and DRS Delta, so far away from his teammates, has already been dealt with, and this time again we have complete Western Circle. It can either be a Ruin Circle or maybe a Pmpl for circle.
You know, I don't know why. Why are the teams adamant on picking up a fight against Starwood right from the start of the game? We all know what fate awaits them, but right now, High Voltage DC got in a little bit of a pickle over here as 7th Element. They just are swarming around Malik. At this point, I'm kind of starting to wonder if they're aware of his position. One good thing 7th Element they're doing is they're kind of pushing in tandem. They're kind of sticking to each other. So let's say even if one of the players gets dealt with, the other is there to get the trade-offs, as Malik just gets readied up, coiled up, ready to strike. But seems like 7th Elements, they're showing no interest in going after him. Could have been a freebie, but they let him pass. And now, maybe they might just get punished, because now, as you can see on the minimap, you know, Praveen was just trying to poke them, kind of draw their attention, while Malik is slowly slithering his way around Ashraf.
Oh, Divine, poor Divine, just a tree trunk to the cover and onto Praveen. But Divine, he has a good position, he has a height advantage as well, and now High Voltage DC Praveen needs to be a bit careful. One wrong peek, one glimpse, and Divine with the M416 is ready to take his head off. At the same time, that split that is coming from the side of High Voltage DC, agree they do have backup to each other, set up a good crossfire. But if a knock comes in, even for the players of 7th Element, if a knock comes onto Divine, I don't think there is any chance of a revival coming in anytime soon.
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, High Voltage DC, I do not know what forced them into this situation, but let's just say that this is how Sandhawk is, right? And considering the fact that Praveen has finally started to make his way back to his teammates, instantly halted at his position. Thankfully does have a first aid to work along with, but still that's not good news, right? 7th Element, they need to get a few more angles, as Leo Esports, they're finally dealt with by the boys from Regicide, as they get those 4 finishes to their name. I'm starting to wonder what really happened over here. But regardless, Leo Esports not having the best of starts today.
Oh, certainly. Leo Esports, well, they were suffering in the league plays as well. Leo Esports were not having the best of the time. And IHC, I'm so surprised to see this name getting an early elimination, because IHC, well, in the spring season, they were looking right in the crosshairs of T24 OP. But I don't think T24 OP is having the right weaponry in his hands to take shots onto Cloud. But High Voltage Malik finds a perfect confirmation point onto Ashad over there in 7th Element. Well, they have been left with only 3 players. At the same time, Praveen is also down, so they need to go for the crucial rescue mission. That is not going to be easy, because T24 OP is going for the confirmation point as well.
I mean, at this point, I can't really process what's going wrong with 7th Element. I mean, they had the entire situation under control. And despite that, High Voltage DC, they're putting up quite a fight. And especially with that kind of a spread, this looks really awkward. For both these teams, the way they're engaging in, you kind of are very confused from where the shots are really going to come through. Because now Praveen, despite the fact that he was knocked, has somehow managed to get back up on his feet. And at this point, T24 looks to be next in the list for high voltage DC, who are already flying high with that kind of a confidence, after they managed to get some decent eliminations. I think 15 plus and a chicken dinner at top of that. I think for high voltage DC, this was long time coming.
I love the position of Jiggle. He's getting so much information onto the players of 7th element, where the players of remaining his teammates can capitalize on. But now high voltage DC, they do lack on those resources. Few players don't have the proper armor. Few don't have the healings. Probably he needs to patch himself up as soon as possible. Maybe Malik can give him, but Malik is too far away from Praveen right now. And Divine, there is no way that Divine can come and help T24 OP in this situation. So this is... we also have to consider this is the home ground for the players of high voltage DC. They have been ruling the entire Pmpl Islands in such a long time. They're aware of the nook and corner of every area of this island. At the same time, Jiggle right in the crosshairs of Tokosaurus. And finally, Tokosaurus looks like he has woken up from his slumber. At the same time, gave away his position as well.
He certainly has. Now, look at that Cloud. He's been knocked down, but Malik, he wants to go. He wants to fight over here. Has some support. I think his teammate Praveen is over here. And there is going to be a point where they knock on the doors of T24. Is he ready for that? Is he ready for the action? Because Jiggle is trying to provide the quintessential cover fire as T24 deals with one, already finishing him off. But Malik, a little too late in providing that essential assistance. Fails in saving Praveen. As a matter of fact, now Cloud is definitely going to get back on his feet, but high voltage, now these trades are not looking nice, as Divine wanted to take some revenge, but like I said, Jiggle was all the way top of the hills, and having that nice crown for himself certainly enabled him. But Tokosaurus, they talk about him, Shadow, he was the one who was making those sly movements. Now Jiggle is aware with that grenade being lobbed over at his direction. Now has that TPP advantage, and Tokosaurus instantly realizes, regrets his decision and turns around.
Oh, he has to fight for the position points, because he was giving sound cues on the other side. Jiggle was not giving any sort of sound cue, and he was ready for Tokosaurus, but made the mistake as well, showing the back to the enemy. Jiggle is going to definitely capitalize, and with that, 7th element, after getting a single elimination point, they have been wiped out from the map of Senok. Now 13 teams still remaining, and this time the circle is a bit confusing. It can go either ways, towards the ruins area or maybe towards the Camp Alpha Island. If it goes towards north, high voltage DC, they are in the prime spot to get a winner chicken dinner maybe for themselves, but looks like someone else has knocked on the doors of high voltage, and it is none other than Magnus Esports. And Magnus, well, they are not having the best of the time today.
And it's not just them, right? Even Stalwart look to be around the corner. Could see them around that mini-map, but they'll also have to make their way in. Quite understandable. I think this is again another Western Circle, a little hybrid this time, but high voltage DC, I think they've been amidst the action from minute one. the biggest opponents there were 7th element. I think most of their players were pretty much dealt with just one player surviving. High voltage DC, I kind of have questions if they have enough loot on them, because did not get to maneuver around a lot, did not get that looting time, constantly being under the heat from minute one. This is where Quantum Rage slowly creeped in on the players of Aegon I8. Now, Aegon I8, during the league stages of the SCC, we kind of saw them have go off to a really good start. But after that, the fall was pretty much, evident. And then in those final days, they kind of redeemed themselves in the final 2 days. But for now, Aegon I8 have a lot to prove, especially them being the champions of PMPL Pakistan. You would want to expect them to see them maybe around that top 4, top 5 position.
Even in the South Asia, they got back-to-back 3 chicken dinners. So definitely, that was a different diet. I'm sorry, I got confused. That was Illuminate Crew. And speaking of Illuminate
Correct.
Crew, NB Esports, they find a perfect knock onto Woofy. Seems like I'm cursing the teams. And Viper also goes down. But this has been a rivalry since a very long time between Illuminate Crew and NB Esports. They always likes to lock horns with each other. But look at the position of IQ. He's slowly crawling his way towards Goku, and Goku has no idea about the snake in such a close proximity. And Goku finally gets dealt with, gets taken down, and IQ might be looking for the confirmation point, but at the same time, he has to reposition himself because the remaining players will retaliate, and Senior definitely retaliates and takes the revenge, takes on IQ, leaving Blade all by himself.
I really do not understand the objective of this particular fight. They really need to understand. It's the second phase. It's nothing to worry about. But they have to get inside the circle. Now, trying to force out a fight kind of looks like a personal vendetta being taken around. But Blade just being the final member surviving. I think this is where Senior and Sparky need to get the hell out of that position. Need to just get inside the circle. Forget about Blade. He means no harm. He's done the damage. And this is where you need to cut your losses and run. But still, Quantum Rage, they're being quite adamant. And I do not know if this is the champion's mentality, if this is the kind of a play I would expect from a team like Quantum Rage, where they're kind of just going ham after Aegonite. But because look at them, they're somewhere situated around the cave area, while the circle has formed around the Western Islands, with Starward, Nirzet having the epicenter to himself, with so many of these teams just deciding to group up. Now this is going to be really interesting. For Miracle Vibes, how do they carve their way inside the circle and find a good spot to themselves? While the players of Starward, look at them, action this time being so precise on his grenade, has managed to find finisher, and now he's going to get some control over these compounds.
Well, Stalwart Esports, they have managed to defend these compounds up until now, but they are picking too many fights, and Magnus Esports taking down the players of Illuminate Crew. Zivian was taken down, instant confirmation is also there, Nova X and Crew. Sky, well, he's burning, literally burning, but he needs to patch himself up as soon as possible. A blessing in disguise in the name of NB Esports is also joining the fray, and Magnus, well, they're going for the crucial rescue missions onto the fallen comrades. At the same time, Action with a grenade is looking to find some connection over there, and finally finds Zabian, gets a confirmation point as well, and Magnus Esports, perfect grenades came from 2 different directions, from the side of Sky as well as Talbot Esports, and Magnus, well, they couldn't survive for very long, and now Sky is all by himself. At the same time, T2K looks like they are also inching closer, and these compounds, so many fights are going to happen over here.
It's now swarming with so many of these teams, right? Seems like the real estate prices have gone pretty high over here, as Jane lobs that grenade into perfection and finds Akaza down on his knees. Fistboy did not have the best of HP, still doesn't, but does manage to throw a counter grenade, just trying to shove off and keep Jane at bay. But Jane, at this point, he needs to make some quick movements. He understands the gravity of the situation, does have that DPS, and can wield that as he finally decides to march in, trying to do the impossible, trying to go against NB Esports. Seems like NB, they're out of first aids, they're out of healings, because Fistboy, he's not looking at healing himself up. This is where I'm kind of pushed into thinking if NB Esports have any loot at all.
I don't know if they have. If they don't have, they really need to find those resources, because still we have 12 teams and 30 players remaining. And T2K Esports, Jane, well, he realized that he's too far away from his teammates. He was overcommitting into that fight. He decides to regroup with his teammates. A good decision on his part. And T2K Esports, well, they already have 3 defeat points for themselves. At the same time, they have the northern control of the circle, and they find Jiggle over there. Reg with the grenade, and the M416 is trying to find Jiggle, and Jiggle, well, he's trying to scuttle back to the safety, trying to escape from the situation, but can he escape from those grenades that are coming towards his side? At the same time, the blue zone is also closing, and there is not enough real estate for him to find a safe cover, find a safe residency, or even take an outnumbered fight. He's pretty much done and dusted in this game. He has to patch himself, but the blue is going to give so much damage, and looks like he's going to go down by the blue.
Oh my goodness. It's a cat and mice chase, and seems like he's just given his life to the blue over there. like you said. But for T2K, I think I kind of like this sense of confidence, right? Just chasing off the enemies. Now have a lot of that northern ground cleared up as one more grenade from Jane. He seems like he's getting the job done and has been making lives hell for NB Esports. Haven't really had the best of start today. Previously, we saw Assassin dealing with the entirety of squad. Now T2K proving to be such a thorn. Young Boy and Fist Boy this time around, they found some medicines to administer. At this point, you know, just kind of squandering out with their utils like that, just throwing it for no use, could just come to bite them back towards the end. Young Boy, few of his pixels are visible, and Jane for sure wants to go for those pre-nades out there. But now finally deciding to enter in as Young Boy gets picked off. And that sort of marks the end for NB Esports, as a little bit of assistance was also provided by Sky from Illuminate crew, who's kind of been alive there, who's still kicking and running, who's still getting so much done for his squad, but will finally bid adieu. And just with those 12 eliminations, Illuminate crew are out of this game.
Oh, well, they have been eliminated, but T2K, they have managed to grab a good compound for themselves. But I love what Stalwart Esports are doing. They're trying to mitigate all the threat in the close proximity. At the same time, they're not over-committing into any fight. They're not doing too many third parties. They're just sticking to the ground, holding on to the compound. On the other side, Maptex Esports looks like they have also been eliminated with good elimination points in their favor. But DRS, what is happening to the players of DRS? They used to rule the map of Senok, but this time only single elimination and only 2 players remaining. I wonder how they're going to survive or grab too many points for themselves, because in the overall standings also, I believe DRS, they are right on the bottom. This is something very shocking, and they are in the blue as well. But for now, T2K Esports, well, looks like they have spotted on the players of TUF right on the periphery of the circle. But the circle takes a shift, and now TUF, well, they have to migrate inside the circle. I wonder how they are going to do so.
Oh, Blade, he wasn't moving a muscle until the point. Kind of gets a little impatient there. Just runs after Killer, but finally gets dealt with. But for DRS, completely acceptable by their standards. They're not supposed to be there where they are right now. Need to redeem themselves and do that pretty quick, as Quantum Rage finally bidding adieu to the server at the 7th spot. So now, you know, we can see majority of these teams, more than half of the lobby completely being wiped out. As Stalwart, I'm kind of really surprised to see them taking such a prime position. Even the likes of Formedical Vibes, the entire Eastern Territory, they've taken it all by themselves, and now could kind of start spreading their players out a little bit, have a lot of that high ground advantage. Look at Doc's position, especially TUF's positioning. I kind of liked, but would have been better had they been inside the circle. So they have to make a move with Regicide right below them. You've got the players of DRS who might also want to come in, but one of their players has already been knocked out. So kind of the position has been revealed. I think Regicide making good work out of it, as Noki this time gets the better out of Demotivate. The moment TUF decide to come out of their hiding, get inside a good position, Regicide, they're already prepared to deal with them. And with Roshan cooking up this grenade, could be bad news for H2SO4.
Oh, TUF, how they're going to survive. The blue is also catching up, and Roshan with a perfect grenade gets a confirmation point onto Demotivate Sir and H2SO4. The sulfuric acid is not going to burn the players of Regicide, but rather he'll go down by the blue, and Regicide, being the wiser one, they are moving inside the circle. But action with a vehicle so close to the players of Regicide, he has to be the cautious one who could have been taken down. But TUF, well, they have been taken down and eliminated. But at the same time, Stalwart Esports position has been given away. But 4MB, look at the position. Yes, they do have 0 elimination points, but the circle is in their favor. They have the entire uphill control. And Regicide on the low ground, I think 4MB, now they can start capitalizing on those elimination points.
You know, honestly, Shadow, you've been doing a lot of these essay games, right? How much have Formedical Vibes changed, haven't they? The way they've been playing, I mean, this is not the Formedical Vibes that we've seen, but I really love. I think this was the only missing element in their play style. I think inculcating that, they have opened doors to maybe the championship this time around that they missed during the SA finals. But for now, Starward Esports in real close proximity to T2K. Chain in top, pretty much neighbors, but quite unwanted as Noki gets his hand on Doc. Now this is quite interesting because Doc, he was one of those flankers. He had a different position to himself, and him getting knocked out over there like that, I think kind of exposes, or rather makes for Medical Vibes a little vulnerable. Because Doc, for me, he was the contingency plan. If the circle had gone a little bit towards the east, as Suyok decides to get into the aid of his fallen teammate, Rick takes quite a heavy beating, but somehow he's still breathing.
Well, he's still breathing, and for MV, they have taken the entire control of the uphill area. They have so much information onto the players of T2K, Stalwart Esports. The minute the players are going to come out in the open, for MV will start capitalizing. And yes, I do agree. I was shocked. For a second, I was like, am I seeing it correct? 4MV with 0 finishes? Because they always like to capitalize on those elimination points. They never cared of the placement points, but now the stakes are higher. They're preparing themselves for the World Invitational. If they qualify, I think they can, but they are preparing themselves for that, and that is how they are playing right now. And finally, they have started opening things up. Get 1 defeat point onto the players of Regicide, and Roshan just having a tree trunk, not the best of the position. At the same time, East, the first glimpse comes in, and Roshan is going to miss so many bullets over there, and East survives. At the same time, the Doc is there. The Grenadier finally deals with Roshan over there, and now Regicide, only 1 player remaining.
Yeah, and for Medical Vibes, he is just barely making it inside the circle. Surely Refuse has been providing that cover fire, and Doc is back on his feet. Now, this is where we could see the 2 biggest Mongolian teams going up against each other pretty soon. With T2K still, trying to rise from the ashes over there, with majority of their players being taken down. As for Medical Vibes, deal death from the skies. As now Starward in a whole world of trouble, as the circle also does not favor them. Now this is where I think Starward and T2K, they will have to fight it out amongst each other, because the moment that smoke dissipates, the moment both these teams run out of the smokes, they will have to come out in the open. The moment they do that, for Medical Vibes will do what they've been doing, try to rein in death and destruction as those Grens also come in, and Starward in a whole world of trouble out there. How are they gonna kind of escape from that situation, as T2K trying to come out in the open? They're also meeting the same fate, meeting their makers, that is for Medical Vibes, who are on a warpath at this point. They have been dealt with. The final players of T2K, they might be taking their breath, as Sandesh has been spotted out, and Apex knows exactly what to do over there.
And he finally lands the last blow onto Sandesh with a DBS and gets a winner chicken dinner for themselves. And 4MV with 3 winner chicken dinners fixes. Oh, this 4MV, I'm loving it.
This is absurd. This is mental. This should not be happening. You can understand the kind of a lead that this team is building up for themselves. Out of 4 games, we've had 3 chicken dinners and a top 3 position also for Medical Vibes. This is quite impressive, even by their standards. We know this team was one of the forces to be reckoned with, but having fixed on their positioning issues, I think working wonders with that has enabled them to such a pinnacle, and from here on, they go upwards. But this was all about the game. We're going to talk more about this after a short little break. we're witnessing something special over here. Day number 1 of the SSE finals, and for Miracle Vibes, they are on a roll, absolutely exploding. 3 out of 4 games, chicken dinner. That is an impressive feat to achieve, and they did it in a very beautiful fashion this time around. Especially, this zone was not favoring them. I loved how they took control over that eastern circle, made their way up to the hills, and the moment they were there, I think the biggest thorn for them were possibly Regicide. They dealt with that, and I think after that, it was an easy peasy chicken dinner.
Well, certainly at the same time, no one was focusing on those uphill mountains.